this sense of subject-object division in consciousness is illusory and vulnerable to investigation. And if you investigate it at sort of the right plane of focus, you pick the analogy you want from, whether it's, setting up the optic blind spot experiment in just the right way so that you can see that, it's actually not, the data is not there. Or, the bistable percept is great because, when you see one of these images, like the vase face diagram, or, the Dalmatian, that looks like just a mess of dots, and then you see the image of a Dalmatian dog pop out. Once you see it, you really can't unsee it. Like once you have the requisite conceptual, anchor to it, then every time you look, you're going to find it again, and it eventually becomes effortless. And that's what ultimately meditation is. This kind of meditation, you ultimately learn to recognize that there's no separation between you and your experience, right? There's not the experience on the one hand and the self on the other. There's just experience, right? There's just seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, feeling, proprioception, add whatever channels of information you want to that. But there's just the totality of the energy of consciousness and its contents. And it's not that you're on the riverbank, and this is how it can seem in the beginning, even when you're practicing meditation fairly diligently. It can seem like you're on the riverbank watching the contents of consciousness flow by. And meditation is the act of doing that more and more dispassionately. So you're no longer grabbing at the pleasant or pushing the unpleasant away. You're just kind of relaxing and in the most non-judgmental frame of mind, just witnessing the flow, right? But if you're doing that dualistically, you feel like the meditator. You feel like the subject aiming attention. And so now you're on the riverbank watching everything go past. But the truth is, you are the river, right? Experience itself is that there is just experience itself. You're not on the edge of experience. And everything you can notice is part of the flow, right? And there's no point from which to abstract yourself away from the flow, to stand outside it and to say, okay, this is my life, this is my experience, this is my body. Yes, you can do that. Those are all just thoughts, but that's more of the flow, right? And so there's a process by which you would eventually recognize that there's no distance between you and your experience. And again, you can wait for those moments in life where experience gets so good or so terrifying, or it's just so salient, right? Your amygdala is driving so hard. So you're in a war and you can't think about anything because the enemy's shooting at you, and this is the most thrilling video game you've ever played in your life, and your life is on the line. Or you're at the peak of some athletic event where there's just, you don't know how you're doing the things you're doing, but it's all happening automatically, right? But those are 1/100th of 1% of one's life, and what I'm calling meditation is a way of simply understanding the mechanics of attention, whereby you are denying yourself that unity of experience so much of the time, and recognizing that that's it's based on a misperception of the way consciousness always already is.